Hi, this is the Healing Dream Doctrine, Spiritual Healing and its Applied Mathematics. The first half of this video will be about practical common sense things that people can do to heal. The second half will be more advanced spiritual healing lesson. I do not substitute this for medical advice or care. I will cover many topics quickly. For this video, perhaps have a pen and notepad to write timestamps of any topics you wish to study or practice more. I hope it helps you if in need. This speech will cover spiritual aspects of healing. However, prior to that, I wish to speak on fasting, grounding, and common sense practices for living pain-free and happy. This video is based on the idealism mathematical formula, reality equals quantum possibilities multiplied by space-time expectations. This resolves string theory, resolves our many worlds into the one world that we know and love, making life a selected history model that doesn't need to make sense for this video. This makes life a dreamscape, and that is the important part. This history selection mathematics means your mind and consciousness is too big for brain and body, and literally means we must all live forever by default of the absence of linear time. This is a science mankind is forgetting, and you can share this video if you find it as powerful as I intend it to be. I think this video is important to some. You decide if what I say is helpful to you. Fasting is important in a mental universe because we need the ability to say no to thoughts, and saying no to food is above average practice. I have personally done water fasting exceeding 1 month in duration. However, if someone is overweight, I will advocate dry fasting with medical advice or supervision. I indulged for a few years and my weight went really high, but I lost 68 kilograms using dry fasting, 48 hours per go, often separated by a 1-day water fast. 1 kilogram is approximately 7,700 calories. I'm posting a PubMed screenshot of a dry fasting study called Dry Fasting Physiology Responses to Hypovolemia and Hypertonicity. 10 participants lost an average of 7 kilograms, 53,900 calories worth, in 5 days. The same amount of calories is 107.8 hours of aerobic running at 500 calories per hour. So you would have to run 107.8 hours in that 5 days at 500 calories per hour to lose the same amount of weight as these people in this study. 21.5 hours per day of aerobic running. The study on your screen shows 10 people lost an average of 7 kilograms each. To lose 7 kilograms in 5 days by running aerobically would be easy arithmetic. Aerobic running burns roughly 500 calories per hour, so a human would need to run for 20.5 hours per day. To lose the same weight as these dry fasters who binge watch Mandalorian or Star Trek reruns in bed. So Group A, every friggin' weight loss guru in 2026 says run 21.5 hours per day if you want to lose 7 kilograms in 5 days. At an aerobic pace too, not just jogging. In contrast, Group B, people like in this study, or myself, dry fasting in the study, these people all lost 7 kilograms lying in bed in their underwear. So everyone watching this needs to pay attention to this because weight loss coupled with the disciplines of fasting is a good starting point for health. And this video will teach spiritual healing in a way that shall seem intuitive to you. I suggest this shall be a powerful video for metaphysical healing techniques. You decide what you hear. What I said about dry fasting. I have another dry fasting video. So clearly, these 10 participants did not die without 3 days of no water. Yet I can ask Google, and Google will tell me that people will start dying after 3 days of no water. Biology is not science related according to me. That may sound harsh, but it's 2026. Clearly losing 7 kilograms in 5 days is considered medically impossible, even for endurance athletes burning 7,000 calories per day. Exercise, according to this PubMed study and a calculator, not me, is dumb for weight loss. Exercise, according to this PubMed study, is for people bad at arithmetic. I'm not making up this science, yet the science in front of everyone says every episode of Oprah Winfrey yammering on about caloric diets was harmful to mankind. Learn, then teach. Now my go-to dry fast is 2 days no food or water. Then I go 1 day with water only, and then I go 2 more days with no food or water. That's 5 days. 2 days dry, 1 day water, 2 more days dry. I do that that's my go-to fast. And that generally, if I was overweight, I could lose up to 7 kilograms just doing that myself. Even though these people all went 7 pure days, maybe I was more overweight, I don't know. But I found I had the similar results. So in that fast, I never went more than 48 hours without water, but I enjoyed similar weight loss to the participants in the PubMed study. I have a video called Before Dry Fasting. You can see the pudgy, morbidly obese version of me, but I indulged, and that is the price. If people tell others to diet or exercise, it is upsetting to me. My go-to fast, like I said, is 2 days dry, 1 day wet, 2 more days dry, and it loses more weight than anyone doing exercise, and I never go more than 48 hours without hydration. Now, there are variations of this I've heard of, but have not tried. A friend lost weight cutting fluids, a comment on my dry fasting video, and many more worth reading said he did intermittent drinking, like OMAD, OMAD, 1 meal per day. Instead of that, he only drank once per day. He just drank like for 1 hour every day. And the rest of the time, he didn't indulge in liquids. So he just got it from his food. I'm not saying hydration is bad. We're all giant bags of mostly water. Many will look at this video and say, it's water weighted. It will all come back. And I have to say, no, my 68 kilograms is not coming back just because biologists cling to ancient superstitions. Biologists are harming humans by telling them water is the end-all, and weight loss is about running forever and ever and ever and skipping sweets. Sweets are fine, just learn how to dry fast effectively and safely. I always say get medical advice knowing full well every doctor on planet Earth will tell you we will die without water after 3 days. I did a 4-day dry fast and I wasn't even thirsty at the end. It comes and goes, our bodies autophagize. Our bodies autophagize our fat because all fat contains 7% water. Biologists never thought of that, did they? They'll line up and regurgitate poems about calories and South Beach diets, teach you how to run forever so you can enjoy an ice cream now and then. But according to the PubMed study on the screen and other accounts, every country on earth is wrong about efficient weight loss. And every doctor who tells you their patients to lose weight by walking clearly has no clue. Why does it take me to point out something any of us could see with a calculator? So follow the arithmetic. Follow the math. These people lost 7 kilograms in 5 days, and it wasn't water weight. My 68 kilograms isn't coming back. I'm grateful for my small indulgences. But who do you think is correct here? Every doctor on planet Earth teaching us to run? You decide. Why do humans need a random video to overwrite their understanding of weight loss? I've seen overweight people jog past me and it's painful to see. I want to chase them down and yell, just watch TV in bed and sleep all weekend. It is sad this knowledge is so obvious when on your screen, but oblivious to biology. Biologists oppose science. Our bodies are heavy on autophagy for that 7% water. This is a very healthy process. We understand, according to Sigmund Freud, etc., that the Old Testament Moses was likely Akhenaten or related, an Egyptian pharaoh. And Egypt did a lot of fasting. A lot. It's important. I actually suggest that Sundays were always meant to be a day of rest and dry fasting within the Abrahamic traditions. Fasting is a necessary spiritual discipline. I've done long-term fasting just to test ketones with vivid navigation of shifting mental landscapes. We must be able to refuse all temptations. In life, we need the ability to say goodbye to thought forms, friends, and family, and the ability to ignore any thought, even food. You decide what you hear in this video. My mathematics says you help create this video with your expectations of it. Your thoughts are in my head according to me, which is mathematics I teach in many other videos. I have another video on dry fasting. I hope anyone in need of weight loss views it or wants to understand more of the process. Weight can be an important part of healing for man, so this had to be mentioned. This video does teach traditions of the sages. So far we've only needed a calculator. Hang in there. I shall attempt to give good instruction. Now, this is a grounding mat. This is a grounding mat, and this is the plug. It has just the grounding plug. And these two parts are just plastic. So when it plugs into a Canadian socket, and you have to buy these separate. You have to buy the plugs and the mat separate. And then these mats, you can spread them out and you can sit on them. You can put your feet on them when you're at work. You can ground in bed or whatever. But these are These are very important, and once you buy them, it's a one-time purchase, and then you don't have to buy them again, but you can get them from many major outlets. It's very important. So we're at the end of the dry fasting and weight loss aspects, and I want to talk about that grounding mat. So it has no electrical prongs, but it does have a grounding attachment for the Canadian outlet. So if I plug this into any outlet and meditate or sleep upon it, my electrical body is grounded to the earth. This has been proven by medical science now to reduce pain and inflammation. This is real, people. If you do not own a grounding mat, order one today. They are sold most everywhere. I'm not selling you one. I'm just saying find one and buy one. It would be my suggestion. Pain and inflammation can be reduced just by grounding. That is huge and important. If someone is in need of healing, they should consider this. And now that I own this, it should last me a decade or more. So on the screen is a screenshot and name of a film by Clint Ober. I would pay friends to watch this video because it's that important to their health. So I suggest that you should watch this video, and if you like it, pay your family members or kids to watch this movie because you're helping them, you're giving them information that'll last a lifetime. So Clint Ober, he was the first person in transitional time to ground himself, and he noticed an effect. So he did it again and again, and he funded a study, and the results are in his 1 hour and 15-minute film in this screenshot, in this film on the screen. So if you seek healing, this film is free on YouTube, that grounding film. It is called The Remarkable Science of Grounding by Clint Ober, and it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. This is the kind of film you might pay your kids to watch just so they know the beauty of it. I have paid people to watch that film because I've thought grounding would benefit them. There are elemental reasons also. So, that mat that I showed you, that grounding mat, probably costs approximately $50, and these plugs are sold separately and they cost about $20. So, just shop around or whatever. They're anti-static bracelets grounded to an outside or a radiator. Could be cheaper option, under $10 each. Be safer on electricity. I suggest everyone and their brother buy a few of these to try to ground even when not in pain. I'm not in pain. I always ground. I ground when I meditate. I ground when I sleep. Because we are made of earth. That is the end of the second preamble. Now, a preface to the main lesson. Beginning shortly. Buckle up. The things in this video belong to you. This earth air is a high registration dream. A nocturnal dream is a low registration dream. There's more people sharing their expectations in this more cohesive earth air. For those who understand my science videos, we must select a history with every passing moment, as strange as that may sound. However, if our expectations combine across space-time as they do, they select a history where reality is identical to a nocturnal dream. If someone says, row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream, many materialists would soil themselves, suggesting that makes everyone but them actual. It's called solipsism, and I always add the soul part myself. The atheist nutters simply call it solipsism, and they argue that it would make everyone but you actual. That's not even a logical assumption. Why would I be in the same dream? Why wouldn't I be in the same dream as you? So in the entirety of all humanity, not one of us has thought, hey, maybe I'm in this here dream with Sally and Fred, and the rest of y'all are just dream filling or something, but why couldn't there be other people in the dream? So solipsism doesn't have... We could be sharing a dream, and that's essentially what we do. And every locus of comparison is the observer effect. This means a cat expecting a bowl of milk could, if on its own, build an entire universe with the cows and meadows and milk and some farmers, bowl and potter and some ancestry and teleological creationism inside a universe to create it all. Because a cat can birth a universe using the math I revealed in 2015. Because we bias the past. We select a history using this mathematics. This math also makes that a selector of string theory, a selector of many worlds, a selector of quantum biology, all solved by the Born-Hilborn rule. But history is what memory is. So we select our memories with every passing collapse in this model of reality. This is the mathematics of healing. The mathematics of healing is on your screen. Consciousness equals memory equals string theory equals reality equals quantum possibilities multiplied by space-time expectations. That is the entire thesis. Reality equals quantum mechanics multiplied by space-time expectations. 7 words there. Now, this entire history selection stuff also makes brain-body too small for mathematics. This entire history selection stuff makes brain-body too small for the mathematics. So if you understood what I've just said, then merrily, life is but a dream we awaken from. So mote it be. If I've moved you towards spirituality, or you were already there, this is my dream healing doctrine. If you do not understand the mathematics, that's okay. AI could explain or teach it at any grade level if interested. But the main thing, our main understanding before I begin, is that life is a dreamscape we safely awaken from. You should watch my afterlife videos also to help remove fears. Many intuitively know we can manifest if we think of things and pay attention. It is a practice people should do at least until they have seen the past must have changed to bring them what they wanted. The past changes on a macro level. Expectancy of a parking space literally makes a lady late for Pilates rush to her car and move it before you arrive. How? How does that happen? With the use of my mathematics. So we can learn the past changes with manifesting. If a song comes on the radio after you thought of it or spoke of it, how? Without the past changing. There's actually a word for the past changing. For if you expect something before the cause. And this word is synchronicity. I'll read this profound quote from Dr. Carl Jung on this definition of synchronicity so you know it's his definition and not my own. This can be found in Wikipedia under the word synchronicity. In his book, Synchronicity, an Acausal Connecting Principle, Jung wrote, "How are we to recognize a causal combination of events when it is obviously impossible to examine all chance happenings for their causality? The answer to this is that acausal events may be expected most readily where, on closer reflection, a causal connection appears to be inconceivable. It is impossible with our present sources to explain ESP, extrasensory perception, or the fact of meaningful coincidence as a phenomenon of energy. This makes an end of the causal explanation as well, for effect cannot be understood as anything except a phenomenon of energy. Therefore, it cannot be a question of cause and effect, but of a falling together in time, a kind of simultaneity. Because of this quality of simultaneity, I picked on the term synchronicity to designate a hypothetical factor equal in rank to causality as a principle of explanation." And I'm sorry for the emphasis, but I wanted to exaggerate that he was saying that he said acausal events and causal connection appears inconceivable, and this makes an end for causal explanation, and he also called it a falling together of time. A falling together of time. Does the word synchronicity mean reality equals quantum possibilities multiplied by space-time expectations? Yes, by George, I think he got it. And synchronicity is a common word now. We see it all around us. I Ching. ICHING. Respect your I Ching book and it will guide you. Garbage at our feet will guide us according to my mathematics. This preface must lastly address another aspect of manifesting. Worry. Yes, worry. We have to distract from worry. Many think worry is nice, caring, loving. No, it is harmful. Visualizing bad stuff with emotion is manifesting bad stuff 101. You're putting weight towards the bad history in this mathematics model. There's your evil suffering problem solved. I have another video on that topic if interested. However, worry is bad. If you're healing, then distract from worry. That's why I said watch my afterlife videos, so that helps lower the worry. And binge watch TV while someone is having surgery, or don't sit there and visualize doomsday scenarios when somebody is suffering. You have to distract. If you can't think of positive thoughts, then distract yourself. I think hospital waiting rooms should all have large positive TV programs filled with laughter and joy. Worry is attached to desire. It's part of life. We need to worry to function inside a mental universe, but there is an excess of it. Distraction is the best I can offer. Do not dwell on worry, or you might collapse a history you're not thinking upon. That is your task. Turn back into a child. Expect the miracles. Expect the happiness. Now for the show. This is the Born-Hilborn Dream Healing Doctrine. Balance, breath, gratitude, eating, and history section. This presentation offers a theoretical, mathematical, spiritual model of healing built on the Born-Hilborn interpretation. Reality is quantum mechanics multiplied by space-time expectation. It is educational, contemplative, and symbolic in nature. It is not medical advice, and it does not replace responsible medical or mental care. I would go to the doctor. I would get surgeries. Now listen carefully. The first mistake people make about healing is that they imagine it as a war. They imagine the body as a battlefield, disease as the enemy, army. Fear is strategy, panic is proof of seriousness, and survival is the only possible victory. That is the old mistake. In the framework I'm teaching tonight, healing is not panic. Healing is pattern correction. Say that sentence inwardly. Healing is not panic. Healing is pattern correction. Healing is not panic. Healing is pattern correction. Let it become the first law of this lecture. Because if reality is selected history, if reality is quantum possibility multiplied by expectations across space-time, then the body is not merely a sack of chemistry temporarily hallucinating a soul. The body is an avatar inside a dense dream registry. The body is a local interface through which a deeper consciousness participates in a selected history. This does not make the body unimportant. Quite the opposite. An avatar matters because it is how the player enters the game. But the avatar is not the player. And when the avatar trembles, suffers, ages, sickens, or approaches death, the player does not need to collapse into terror. Terror is not intelligence. Terror is not reverence. Terror is not gratitude. Terror is not proof of love. Terror is a crude command given to the dream. This danger is ultimate. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Do not give the dream that command. Breathe. Listen. Reframe death now. Death in this model is not annihilation. Death is a waking up process. Death is the loosening of the avatar from the role. Death is the removal of the headset after a very serious game felt absolutely real. And yes, while we were in the game, pain feels real. Loss feels real. Love feels real. Hunger feels real. Illness real. This is the point of the registry. A dream without no persistent teaches nothing. A game with no stakes becomes noise. But the stakes are not what the materialists say. The stakes are not survive or vanish. The stakes are learn or repeat. The purpose is not merely to keep the avatar running forever. The purpose is to complete the role with increasing lucidity, gratitude, courage, and balance. So healing must be treated with reverence, but also with lightness, with a sort of a joy, with a fun. You have to heal. You have to play it like a game. Heal because life is beautiful. Heal because the role is not finished. Heal because the body is a faithful animal and deserves kindness. Heal because breath is still entering. Heal because love still has work to do. But do not heal from panic. Do not heal from desperate bargaining. Do not heal as if death were the cosmic police dragging you into non-existence. Death is not the enemy. Worry is the enemy. Excess is the enemy. Attachment is the enemy. Panic is the enemy wearing a doctor's coat, a priest's robe, and sometimes a spiritual costume. The middle way is the path. The Taoist wisdom is simple. Do not cling too hard to anything, not even healing. Too much attachment to the body injures the body. Too much fear of death rehearses death. Too much fasting becomes punishment. Too much breath work becomes violence. Too much prayer becomes begging. Too much force becomes worry with better vocabulary. The dream hears deeper than words. The dream hears state. So command your state. Anchor the second law. Heal with joy, not worry. Heal with joy, not worry. Heal with joy, not worry. That's not a cute slogan. That is metaphysical hygiene. Heal with joy, not worry. If reality is history selection, then the future is not merely waiting. The future is waiting. You're waiting, W-E-I-G-H-T. It's adding weight from the future. The future biases the past. Your expectation is not a decoration added after physics. Expectation is part of the pressure by which one history becomes the inhabited one. That is why gratitude matters. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. Remember that. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. That's an important statement. Not because gratitude is sentimental, not because we're trying to staple a greeting card over a wound. Gratitude matters because gratitude says to the dream registry, I recognize value here. I recognize gift here. I recognize meaning here. Continue the best of this. When you thank the universe only after everything is perfect, you have not learned gratitude. You have learned applause. You've learned applause. You have to be grateful the whole trip. Real gratitude begins while something still hurts. Thank the breath that remains. Thank the organs still serving you. Thank the leg that limp but carries. Thank the fat that stored survival. Thank the illness that forced attention. Thank the pain that shouted when whispering failed. Thank the bad luck that revealed the pattern. Thank the wound for showing where love was absent. Do not romanticize suffering. Do not worship disease. But do not waste suffering by hating it so completely that you learn nothing from it. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. And love is not weakness. Love is coherent expectation. Love is the state in which the avatar stops fighting the player. Now, we begin the doctrine. The body is an avatar. The world is a registry. The Born-Hilborn rule stated spiritually says that reality is not merely what particles do. Reality is what quantum possibility becomes when weighted by expectations across the block universe. Reality equals quantum mechanics multiplied by space-time expectation. That means the past is not a dead warehouse behind us. It is the part of the selected history. Memory is not a tiny video file stored in wet brain meat. Memory is history selection itself. The brain is not the prison of mind. The brain is an interface, a receiver, a focusing organ, an avatar console. That changes healing completely. If memory is stored only in the brain, then healing is local repair of a machine. If memory is selected history, then healing is a pattern correction inside a living space-time dream. The body is not unreal. The body is dream real. That is more powerful, not less. In a normal dream, you may fly, change scene, become animal, survive impossible transitions, heal instantly, or die and wake. In waking life, the dream has more registry, more continuity, more inertia, more agreement among observers, more habit, more ancestral density, more shared rule. But you're still in a dream. More registry does not mean zero plasticity. It means healing requires deeper agreement. A loose dream changes with a whim. Waking life changes with embodied expectation, repeated practice, emotional certainty, symbolic alignment, breath, sensation, behavior, food, water, environment, and time. So stop asking, why can I not instantly heal? Ask the better question, what level of the registry am I trying to persuade? A shallow thought persuades very little. A repeated thought persuades more. A thought joined to breathing persuades more. A thought joined to water, food, posture, sound, and movement again persuades more. A thought joined to gratitude persuades more. A thought joined to identity persuades more. A thought joined to expectation across space-time it persuades history itself. That is why the ancient systems never relied on one layer. They used breath, posture, washing, fasting, food, words, symbols, movement, sound, touch, elements, chi, organs, talismans, stars, prayers, and moral purification. All valid. They were not being messy. They were being comprehensive. They understood something materialism forgot. The body's reached through many doors. The eye is a door. The ear is a door. Breath is a door. Food is a door. Water is a door. Touch is a door. Memory is a door. Symbol is a door. Gratitude is a door. And nowadays, even a cell phone is a door. And expectations is the hand that opens them. The first rule, balance before force. Do not begin with power. Begin with balance. A disordered operator produces a disordered current. A disordered operator produces a disordered current. This is why the old healing books insist on self-examination, purification, emotional discipline, moderate living, fasting, and restraint before stronger practices. This is not moral decoration, it is operational necessity. If anger fills the healer, the current carries anger. If vanity fills the healer, the current carries vanity. If fear fills the healer, the current carries fear. If exhaustion fills the healer, the current carries depletion. If obsession fills the healer, the current carries obsession. So the first medicine is not a herb. It is not a needle. It is not a mantra. It is not a breath technique. It is the correction of the operator. Ask yourself, where am I excessive? Where am I addicted to drama? Where am I secretly enjoying my suffering because it gives me identity? Where am I using illness as proof that the universe hates me? Where am I using healing as proof that I am spiritually superior? Where am I trying to force life instead of cooperating with it? These are not insults. These are diagnostic questions. You cannot command the dream while secretly worshiping the nightmare. So begin here. Reduce turbulence. Do not practice from intoxication. Do not practice from rage. Do not practice from gluttony. Do not practice from exhaustion. Do not practice from theatrical mood that says, tonight I shall conquer all disease and become cosmic lightning. That is not healing with that is adolescence with incense. Begin instead with order. Wash the body. Straighten your room. Drink water when appropriate. Sit without strain. Let the breath become quieter. Notice the body without hatred. Then say, I begin from balance. I do not begin from panic. I begin from balance. This is the first pattern, interruption. Panic says, do everything now. Wisdom says, do the next correct thing. Panic says, more force, more force. Wisdom says, correct the force. Panic says, I must survive. Wisdom says, I must become coherent. Healing begins when coherence becomes more attractive than the panic. The second rule, breath is the carrier. Breath is the bridge between intention and embodiment. Do not skip over that sentence. Breath is the bridge between intention and embodiment. It is one of the master keys. Breath is the bridge. In the ancient system, breath is never merely air. Breath is carrier. Breath is messenger. Breath is state entering the organism. Breath is how the invisible makes its first treaty with the physical. But here is the warning. More breathing is not automatically better breathing. Excessive breathing can become violence. Strained breathing can become panic. Breathing performed from desperation is worry wearing yoga pants. So we command the breath gently. Do not inflate the body like a collapsed balloon trying to prove itself spiritually. Let the breath become quieter, cleaner, more intelligent. The rule is quality, not quantity. The breath must carry an image. The breath must carry an image. The breath must carry a present tense command. Not, I will be healed someday. That tells the dream healing is postponed. Healing someday is always in the future. Say past tense or present tense. Health is entering. Peace is here. I am pure. I am pure. Strength is returning. Cooling is now. Fear is loosening. I am pure. The body remembers order. I am healthy. I am pure. I am healthy. I am pure. Use present tense. The dream does not need vague begging. It needs lawful instruction. So, now imagine the first practice. Sit or stand without strain. Let the spine rise but not stiffen. Let the jaw soften. Let the shoulders drop. Choose one state only. Not 10. 1. Peace. Cooling. Strength. Release. Courage. steadiness. Choose one. Now inhale as if that state is already present in the air all around you. Not imagined as a distant wish, but present, available, entering now, or when you do this practice. As you breathe, say inwardly, with this breath, steadiness enters. Or, however, with this breath, cooling enters. With this breath, the body remembers. Then exhale without drama. Let what is excessive leave. Do not push it out like an enemy. Let it leave like a guest whose visit is complete. Let it leave like a guest whose visit is complete. You have to be thankful and grateful to our disharmony and say goodbye. This is breath imprinting. Now deepen it. Imagine that the skin itself breathes. Every pore becomes a small mouth of the body. The lungs breathe, the skin breathes, the whole body receives because of this mathematics. Like dry earth receiving rain, like a sponge receiving water, like a sleeping garden receiving dawn. This is pore breathing. But again, do not overdo it. And you accompany it with your imagination. The dream respects precision and the theatrics. Now bring in the ancient Eastern refinement. Gather the breath in the lower center below the navel. This is the sea of vitality, the lower field, the reservoir. Let breath collect there as a quiet pearl of force. Not a violent fireball, not a fantasy explosion, a pearl, dense, calm, obedient. Then by attention only guide that current upward beside the spine. Imagine 2 columns of white breath instant rising gently. They pass upwardly into the head, around the brain palace, through the face, down the throat, into the arms and fingers, through the chest and 5 viscera, the organs, into the hips, knees, ankles, and soles of the feet. Do not force, guide. There's a difference. Force says, obey me now, go there now. Guidance says, here is the path. This is how breath becomes internal travel. This is how attention becomes medicine. This is how the avatar receives instruction from the player. If partaking in rhythmic nostril or alternate nostril breathing, keep an eye on your emotions and feelings. There is elemental breathing where we inhale various elements. Try to avoid more than a half dozen inhalations of any element, and be sure to exhale an equal number of times upon completion. Do not use elemental breathing or mental visualization compression of these elements unless you master the rest of this speech. And always bring yourself back to balance through proper exhalations afterwards. The idea is balance, not overdoing anything. This inhalation applies to all the elements. We use our imagination, control, an imaginary universe. The third rule, water receives the burden. Water is the oldest therapist. Water receives. Water cools. Water remembers shape without clinging to it. Water carries away. Water enters places force cannot enter. In this doctrine, water has 2 great uses, subtraction and addition. Subtractive water removes additive water installs. For subtractive water, wash the hands, face, or body while imagining fear, fatigue, illness, agitation, bad luck, shame, and stale expectation leaving into the water. Do not make a melodrama of it. Let the water do what water does. Say goodbye. This is leaving. They pretend everything was part of the cruise ship body that is you. Say this is leaving, not I hope this leaves. This is leaving. Let the command be clean. You're crazy if you do not talk to yourself in a mental universe. You're crazy if you do not talk to yourself in a mental universe. This is leaving. If the disturbance is fiery, furiousness, rage, inflammation, agitation, panic, water becomes the cooling opposite. Water says to fire, enough. The old magical logic was simple. If the illness burns like fire, the healing image must quench like water. So speak to the burning. Fire that has done its lesson, cool now. Speak to it. Heat that is shouted, soften now. You're talking to the heat. Agitation that has warned me, release now. You're talking to the agitation. Then wash. For additive water, hold the water and impress it with a single state. Peace, cooling, courage, clarity, gratitude, a fun Saturday night. Say, this water carries steadiness, this water carries peace, this water carries clear memory of health. Then drink or wash with reverence, not superstition. Reverence, gratitude. A mechanical act becomes a healing act when the dream receiver receives intention through matter. We should be spending our time eating alone and giving gratitude to our food throughout our entire meal. I don't always do that. I'll go to barbecues and I'll have meals with friends and go to parties and weddings and buffets and stuff like that. So a mechanical act becomes a healing act when the dream receives intention through matter, and water receives. The water receives, and because water receives, it can also remove. We have to think of food and water as a passenger, food as history. Consider gratitude at the table. Saying grace, to put it in familiar terms, one of the simplest spiritual practices is often one of the most overlooked, being grateful to the food in front of us. Food is not just material entering a body. It is a whole history arriving in our hands. A glass of milk is not merely milk. It is the cow, the grass, the earth beneath the grass, the rain that watered it, the sun that shone on it, the air that cow breathed, and the quiet intelligence of life arranged, all of it in nourishment. When we eat too quickly, we often treat food like fuel, but we are not machines. Our bodies are more like beautiful cruise ships for arriving thought forms, emotions, memories, and living experiences through this body. Consciousness gets to taste sweetness, warmth, texture, comfort, and love. Every meal is a little ceremony for the universe when the universe becomes human for a moment. So pretend that the food that you eat is joining your body as part of a cruise ship. It's just a fun way to think about it, but I don't know how to say it easier right now. Gratitude may be the most obvious act of love, so you do not have to force yourself into some grand mystical state. Just simply pause, look at the food, thank the cow for the milk, thank the plant for the fruit, thank the earth for holding the roots, thank the rain, the sun, the air, the farmer, the cook, and the invisible chain of life that brought this meal to you. And at the bottom of everything, you thank the water, fire, earth, air. This is why slowing down matters. Use chopsticks if they help slow you down and appreciate and program your food better. They had spoon and fork and knife technology before chopsticks were invented. Chopsticks is meant to make you slow down and appreciate your food. And that is part of healing, is thanking your food and thanking your food and thanking your food. Take smaller bites. Put the fork down between mouthfuls. Breathe before drinking. Let the first sip be received instead of conquered. Eating consciously turns consumption into communion. And if you are healing, be especially aware of your mental state when you eat or drink. Do not bring hatred, panic, resentment, or despair to the table. If you can help it, bring softness, bring permission, bring the feeling that your body is being loved by the universe through matter. Bring your state. If reality is essentially mental, then food is not dead substance. It is organized kindness. It is sunlight wearing 1,000 costumes. It is the world saying, here, continue, have another day, have another chance to love. So eat slowly, drink gratefully, bless the food, and let the food bless you back. Most people eat like conquerors, addicts, machines, or bored animals. We will eat like dream technicians in this dream doctrine. Food is not dead fuel. Food is selected history entering the avatar. Every meal is a boarding process. Your body is that cruise ship. Yes, that may sound strange. Good. Strange images interrupt dead thinking. Your body is a cruise ship and every meal is a passenger. The orange juice boards carrying sunlight. The fish boards carrying water memory. The milk boards carrying meadow, cow, mother, bull, grass, rain, farmer, and cat expectation. The meat boards carrying earth density, animal incarnation, muscle, heat, fear, life, death, and transformation. The bread boards carrying fields, seed, sun, soil, hands, grinding, fire, and patience. The vegetables board carrying leaf, photosynthesis, water, mineral, air, green intelligence, and lungs and breathing. Do not eat unconsciously. Do not insult your passengers. Do not turn the meat into guilt. Receive it with command and gratitude. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. Say it before eating. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. Now bless the meal without needing religious language. If you do not want religious language, say, enter in peace. become strength, become clarity, become service, become gratitude. If the food is bright, let it brighten. If the food is dense, let it ground. If the food is watery, let it cool and flow. If the food is fiery, let it warm and transform. Orange juice is solar, fire element, brightening. Fish is water element, adaptation, fluidity. Milk is earth air, nourishment, maternal continuity, the bowl of milk that births the universe. Meat is earth fire density, embodied memory, incarnation made edible. Plants are light translated into green body. Photosynthesis is sunlight learning patience. In the Born-Hilborn mathematics, appetite is not trivial. Appetite participates in history selection. A cat expecting a bowl of milk does not merely expect liquid. It selects a world where cows exist, meadows exist, grass exists, rain exists, bowls exist, potters exist, farmers exist, kitchens exist, and the cat survives long enough to ask. A bowl of milk is not just a bowl of milk. It's a universe condensed into white nourishment. So when you eat, do not merely consume. Welcome, thank, direct. Use present tense command. This food becomes clear strength. This food becomes peaceful repair. This food becomes useful life. This food becomes service. And if illness has made food difficult, if appetite is changed, if the body feels alien, begin smaller. Take one sip. Thank one bite. Follow it. Thank the tongue for knowing. Thank the stomach for trying. Thank the body for still negotiating with the world. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love, and the meal is one of the easiest places to practice it. Fire and water first, air and earth after. Now, the elements. The first polarity is fire and water. Fire expands, water contracts. Fire separates, water receives. Fire rises, water descends. Fire commands, water remembers. Fire transforms, water nourishes. From their tension comes air. Air is relationship. Air is mediation. Air is movement between expansion and contraction. Air is breath, speech, exchange, thought, circulation, and bridge between fire's assertion and water's reception. From their stabilization comes earth. Earth is consolidation. Earth is registry. Earth is habit made solid. Earth is bone, tissue, weight, form, body, memory, stabilized into matter. So remember the elemental sequence this way. Fire is expansion. Water is reception. Air is relationship. Earth is memory stabilized into form. This is not merely ancient poetry. It is diagnostic language. When someone is burning with anger, they are in excess fire. When someone is drowning in grief, they are in excess water. When someone is scattered, anxious, and unable to settle, air is disordered. When someone is heavy, rigid, depressed, or stuck, earth is excessive or stagnant. When someone is weak, ungrounded, and unable to incarnate their intention, earth is deficient. When someone cannot speak, exchange, or move thought, air is blocked. When someone has no warmth, no courage, no metabolism of experience, fire is weak. When someone cannot receive, soften, forgive, or cleanse, water is weak. The healer must not attack the symptom only. Correct the quality. Correct the quality. Correct the quality before the symptom. If the pattern is too hot, cool. If too cold, warm. If too scattered, ground. If too heavy, lighten. If too rigid, soften. If too vague, clarify. If too dry, moisten. If too wet, define. This is why the old systems spoke of elements, phases, humors, organs, planets, and qualities. They were trying to name the state behind the symptom. Modern language often asks, what is the diagnosis? The deeper energetic question asks, what is the quality of the imbalance? That is the doorway. That is the understanding. We have the elemental body. Now place those elements in the body. The lower body is earth. The abdomen is water. The chest is air. The head is fire. Especially if you're Aries like me. This is not the only map. It is a powerful map. Earth below, feet, legs, pelvis, bones, density, survival, grounding. Water in the abdomen, digestion, fluids, desire, emotion, reproduction, assimilation. Air in the chest, breath, circulation, speech, relationship, grief, openness. Fire in the head. Perception, will, command, light, attention, direction. Now imagine the body as a 4-level temple. Do not overload the temple. Do not force elements into the heart or brain. Do not play the hero with strong accumulations. Do not mistake intensity for mastery. The correct method is balanced, gradual, reversible. I already mentioned 6 times, and if you're doing compressions, then that's deeper. The correct method is balanced, gradual, reversible. A simple elemental restoration works like this. Settle. Then imagine earth below, the legs and pelvis becoming stable, calm, weighted, trustworthy. Then imagine water in the abdomen, cool, fluid, receptive, washing, digestion, experience. Then air in the chest, light, open, spacious, mediating, breathing between the worlds. Then fire in the head, clear, bright, not feverish, not violent, simply luminous. Use guided meditations if you would like. Hold briefly, then dissolve in reverse. Fire softens, air settles, water clears. Earth releases excess weight while retaining stability. Return to ordinary body. This is crucial. Undo what you do. Always return. A good healing operation closes. A bad operation leaves the door open and brags about it. In this doctrine, every practice has 3 phases. Collect, distribute, seal. Collect the force, distribute the force, seal the force. Do not collect without distributing, or you create congestion. Do not distribute without collecting, or you create vagueness. Do not forget the seal, or you create leakage. Collect, distribute, seal. Collect, distribute, seal. Collect, distribute, seal. The inner kingdom, organs, chi, and governance. Now we move from the elemental temple to the inner kingdom. Ancient Eastern healing traditions understood the body as a microcosm of heaven and earth. They do not see organs as dead plumbing. They saw them as officials, palaces, spirits, fields, reservoirs, and ministers in an inner court. This is a brilliant teaching strategy. Why? Because the mind governs better with images rather than abstractions. If I say, regulate emotional physiology complexity, your body will yawn. If I say, enter the kingdom and calm the official, the dream listens. So use the image that your body understands. Use the image. The lungs may be imagined as ministers of breath and grief. The liver is a general of movement, planning, and anger. The heart is a sovereign fire. The kidneys is deep ancestral water. The spleen or center as earth court. Nourishment, assimilation, stability. The stomach is receiving hall. The bones is archives. The blood is a river. The skin is border. The breath is messenger. So command the kingdom. You're crazy if you don't talk to yourself in a mental universe. Not harshly, lawfully. Command. Talk to yourself. Breathe quietly. Gather attention below the navel. Let the lower center become earth. Then speak inwardly. The kingdom is listening. The kingdom is listening. The kingdom is listening. Now guide white breath upward beside the spine. Your body loves visualizations. Let it enter the head, soften the face, descend through the throat and chest, enter the organs, pass in arms and fingers, hips and knees, ankles and soles and toes. Then visit the organs not as a mechanic, but as a ruler returning to neglected provinces. Say hello. To the lungs, grief is heard. Breath may open. Say to the liver, anger is heard. Movement may become wise. Say to your heart, fire is honored. Flame may become clear. Say to your kidneys, fear is heard. Deep water may become still. To the center, worry is heard. Earth may become steady. Worry is heard. Earth may become steady. We do not begin by saying, shut up to the symptom. We hear the lesson. We say, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. That's what you say to pain. That is the master phrase. Use it. You say to your body, I hear the lesson. I hear the pain. You do not need to shout. Pain, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. Pain, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. Fear, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. Fatigue, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. Anger, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. This is not weakness. This is a command with recognition. You're using neuro-linguistic programming on yourself. The dream does not need you to hate its messengers. It needs you to understand them. So they're trying to tell you things through your illness. It's sound exhalation as correction. Breathing becomes stronger when shaped by sound. The only sounds people can make without the use of their lips and tongue is vowels. A, E, I, O, U. And these sounds are all have their own value in the mystical traditions. The ancient 6 sound traditions understood that exhalation can be differentiated. One does not merely breathe out. One releases with tone, organ, emotion, and corrective quality. You do not need to perform this theatrically in a public speech. I teach the principle. Sound carries state. A sigh releases, a hum steadies, a whisper cools, a chant organizes, a command directs, a prayer opens, a name captures attention, a tone changes the body from the inside. So give the audience this instruction. Tell your body, when fear rises, do not only think, exhale with sound. When anger burns, exhale as if cooling metal. When grief tightens the chest, hum gently until the chest remembers vibration. When worry circles the belly, use a soft exhale and say, enough. Sound is air given shape. Air is relationship. Therefore, sound is the relationship between inner state and outer world. Now, the commanding tone becomes useful. Not bullying, commanding. The body does not need you to scream at it. The body needs unmistakable authority. Say, fear, stand down. Pain, report clearly. Heat, cool now. Heaviness, lighten now. Scattered thought, return. Breath, become quiet. Body, remember order. Dream, select the healing history. Do not mumble. Do not beg. Do not fear. Do not perform fake rage. This is a joyous thing. Speak as the deeper observer, not the frightened avatar. This is the secret of divine identification in old magical systems. The healer temporarily stops speaking as the panicked person and speaks from the deeper authority. In Christian language, one might say, I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. In mystical language, you can say, I speak from the witness. I speak from the witness. I speak from the witness. I speak from the observer. In dream language, I speak from the player, not the avatar. I speak from the player, not the avatar. The point is not ego inflation. The point is perspective correction. He's not saying, I am the light, that he's claiming that he's the light. He's saying that that's his state. He's in the state of light. I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. The frightened avatar says, please, please, please. The deeper observer says, order returns now. The difference matters. So commanding illness without hating the body. Some ancient healing systems treating illness as an intruder, a hostile force, a spirit, a burning fire, a curse, a pollution, an imbalance, a disorder that must be named, cooled, bound, expelled, washed, or sealed. Modern ears may dislike that. Good. The method is physiologically sharp. A nameless illness becomes atmosphere. A named illness becomes object. An object can be addressed. An addressed object can be moved. So name the condition. Not obsessive, cleanly. This is fear. This is heat. This is grief. This is stagnation. This is excess water. This is a scattered air. This is scattered air. This is heavy earth. This is disordered fire. Then speak. Fear, you are not the ruler here. Pain, you may inform, you may tell me what's going on, but you may not govern. Talk to yourself. Heat, your warning is received. Cool now. Grief, your love is honored. Open the chest now. Worry, your service is complete. Release the belly now. Disease, you are named, you are seen, you are not the identity of this soul. Then add gratitude. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. This is important. Command without gratitude become war. Gratitude without command can become passivity. Together they become healing authority. Say, thank you for the warning. The warning has been received. You may soften now. That is a complete formula. Thank. Name. Receive. Redirect. Seal. Thank the messenger. Thank the pain. Name the pattern. Receive the lesson. Redirect the force. Seal the result. This is how command language becomes healing as opposed to violence. So we have to rewrite the body's myth. The body listens to story. That is not childish. That is how humans encode reality. The old healing charms used sacred mini stories. If inflammation was fire, the healer told a story which water quenched fire. The patient's body was placed inside the story. The myth became a template. The symptom was invited to imitate the mythic resolution. And that's a profound healing technique. In Born-Hilborn language, a sacred Hilborn story is a history selection scaffold. It says to the dream, this is the shape of the history we are selecting. So use story carefully, or the body burns. As water cools a stone, this heat cools. If grief closes the chest, as dawn opens the valley, this chest opens. If fear freezes the belly, as spring breaks winter soil, this body softens. If weakness dims the body, as sunrise enters the room, strength returns. If the person is facing death, as the sleeper wakes from a dream, consciousness passes safely through the doorway. Do not argue with fear using abstract metaphysics only. Give fear an image. Fear is a primitive poet. Speak its language. Now future pace the listener. The next time fear rises in the night, you will not have to debate it. You will say, fear, I know you. You are not the king. Breathe, receive, release. The next time pain speaks, you will not collapse into identity. You will say, pain, report clearly. I am listening. You do not need to scream. Talk to your body. The next time food arrives, you will not consume unconsciously. You will say, welcome aboard. Become service. The next time water touches your hands, you will remember water receives. The next time you breathe, you will remember breath carries. The next time you feel death nearby, you will remember death is a door, not a deletion. That is future pacing. That is how teaching becomes usable. Image programming, the talismanic principle. A thought fades. A written thought lasts longer. A thought joined a symbol lasts longer still. A thought joined a matter, ritual, timing, emotional, motion, and repetition becomes an anchor. That is a talismanic principle. A talisman is not merely jewelry. A talisman is a thought that refuses to evaporate. A talisman is a thought that refuses to evaporate. A blessed roll of toilet paper will make your butt cleaner than an unblessed roll of toilet paper. A talisman is a thought that refuses to evaporate. Ancient image medicine understood that a seal, symbol, or figure could impress a pattern into a substance. A medicine was not just the material. It was the material plus image, timing, word, and intention. In modern language, this is image programming. The image gives form. The substance gives body. The word gives direction. The timing gives rhythm. The intention gives aim. The gratitude gives love. This can be done simply, written one phrase, not 20. Order returns. Or water receives. Breath carries peace. The body remembers. Fear stands down. Gratitude opens love. Place it by your water. Place it where you eat. Place it near your bed. Carry it. Touch it before practice. This is because paper has magic in the paper sense. It's because the avatar needs anchors. It needs reminders. The dense dream loves repeated cues. Use the room as medicine. Light matters. Repetition matters. Scent matters. Sound matters. Clean air matters. Beauty matters. A sick room can become saturnine chamber of stale fear. Open the field. Let sunlight enter when possible. Use music that fills without agitating. Use scent in if the body can welcome it. Remove clutter when you can. Place a symbol of order somewhere visible. Charge the room with the command. This room remembers health. This room receives peace. This room rejects panic. This room supports repair. One thing we can do is get an MP3 player record our comment using it on an MP3, record our affirmation, then have plugged into a USB thing and computer speakers, and you could have your affirmation playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the background while you're sleeping. I am pure, I'm healthy, I'm pure, I'm healthy, I'm pure, I'm healthy, I'm pure. You could have that in the background 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with just a set of computer speakers, an MP3 player plugged into a USB port or whatever. So it's not very hard to do, and you get some repetition going in the background. So that's a small little affirmation machine that you can use to help impregnate your room with images and thoughts. So the room is not separate from the body. The room enters the nervous system, the breath, the eye, the mood, the expectation field. Atmosphere is medicine, so make sure your room is clean if you're trying to heal. Hire a maid. Get someone to help you. So breath carries, water receives, food remembers, sound directs, images hold, movement seals, gratitude opens love. This is the operating system. The movement helps seal the work. Do not end inner work by floating away. Seal it. The old Eastern system used guided movement. Dayan, animal forms, stretching, posture, self-massage, and walking to distribute and complete the inner current. They understood that chi should not merely be collected and admired. It should circulate. It should reach tendons, joints, skin, bones, and ordinary life. This is where the 5 animals become useful. The tiger teaches strength and decisiveness. The deer teaches grace and alertness. The bear teaches rootedness and weight. The monkey teaches agility and cleverness. The bird teaches lightness, breath, and expansion. Do not treat this as theatrical imitation. Treat it as embodied memory. The human body did not appear from nowhere. In the Born-Hilborn teleological frame, the past avatar is weighted by vast histories of life. Animal movement, imitating these animals, is not beneath us. It is ancestral grammar. When you move like a tiger, you remember the strength. When you move like a deer, you remember the sensitivity. When you move like a bear, you remember the power of earth. When you move like monkey, you remember adaptive intelligence. When you move like the bird, you remember air. So after breathwork, move. That's the sealing. So after breathwork, move. Seal. After visualization, move. After commanding illness, move. After charging water, move. After grief opens, move gently. Touch the hands, rub the arms, massage the face. Get up. Press the feet onto the floor. Turn the neck slowly. Walk. Let the body know that the ritual has entered ordinary spacetime, that it's over. Movement seals. Movement seals. Movement seals. A practice that never returns to the body is incomplete. A prayer that never changes posture is incomplete. A visualization that never reaches the feet is incomplete. A healing current that never enters ordinary behavior remains a beautiful ghost. So collect, distribute, seal. Dry fasting is disciplined subtraction. Now we speak briefly of fasting, especially dry fasting, not as obsession, not as punishment, not as a contest, not as spiritual ego trophy. In this model, dry fasting belongs to the doctrine of disciplined subtraction. The body is not merely fat. The body is water, sodium, glycogen-bound fluid, gut content, swelling, inflammation, endocrine response, stored habit, metabolic memory. Dry fasting can produce dramatic short-term changes, but not because 7 kilograms of fat vanish like cartoon, but because the body reorganizes water, volume, swelling, stored fluid, appetite, and metabolic signals. The body needs water more than it cares about calories. So in this doctrine, dry fasting is fire and subtraction applied to the water body. But remember the law. Excess corrupts the operation. Dry fasting performed with panic is not healing, it is self-attack. Dry fasting performed to punish fat is not healing, it is hatred. Dry fasting performed as a supervised, brief, respectful metabolic austerity may become a powerful symbolic and physiological reset. but the phrase is supervised, brief, respectful. Do not worship austerity. Do not compete in deprivation. Do not confuse danger with depth. Do not turn the body into an enemy and call that spirituality. The purpose of fasting is not to prove you can suffer. The purpose is to interrupt habit, reduce noise, mobilize stored excess, and remind the avatar that appetite is not the king, and that you can say no to thought forms. Subtraction is not punishment. Subtraction is not punishment. Dry fasting is a discipline of subtraction, not a doctrine of self-harm. And after subtraction, gratitude must return. Thank the water when it returns. Thank the food when it returns. Thank the body for carrying you through the clearing. Thank the body even when it is fat, sick, tired, swollen, or afraid. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. Healing others without depletion. Now we speak of helping another person. A healer is not a battery. A healer is a window. A healer is a window. A healer is not a battery. The healer is a window. There are practices where people try to use themselves as a battery. Those are not the safest, and I don't advise anybody to try it without training from a master. A reckless healer pours personal vitality into another person and then wonders why exhaustion, pride, contamination, resentment, or collapse follows. That is not mastery. That is martyrdom with hand gestures. The correct method is transmission, not self-drainage. The healer first becomes balanced, then gathers, then opens to universal vitality, then radiates without self-emptying. So you can radiate directly into the person. That allows the patient to receive, breathe, and participate. And consent matters, but I've always said worry is affecting the person, and people don't consent when you worry, so you have to really think about every interaction. So do not force energy into people. Do not treat others as broken objects. Do not perform healing to prove power. Ask. Invite. Then, if they're open, work. The radiant method is simple in principle. Settle yourself. Gather vitality from the larger field, not from personal desperation. Imagine the body luminous, like a sun without violence. Let the field expand. Hold the patient within that field, not as a victim, but as an avatar, remembering order. If the person can participate, invite them to inhale radiance with each breath. If they cannot concentrate, the healer imagines the process for them gently, respectfully, without domination. You visualize their inhalations. You visualize the energy going through their bodies. The patient inhales the field. The field carries the pattern. The pattern says, order returns. Fear softens. The body remembers. The lesson is heard. What can heal may heal. That must be learned. What must be learned may be learned. Pick a state. What is complete may complete in peace. You don't think of all of them, but you pick a state. A mature healer does not command every person to remain in the avatar at all costs. That is important. A mature healer does not command every person to remain in the avatar at all costs. In this Born-Hilborn mathematics, I suggest you watch my afterlife video because death is a transition where we are more personified lifetime to lifetime, and sometimes we're done on this earth air and we don't need to continue. And so a mature healer supports the right history. Sometimes the right history is recovery. Sometimes the right history is relief. Sometimes the right history is reconciliation. Sometimes the right history is courage. Sometimes the right history is a peaceful death. This is not giving up. This is wisdom. Healing is not always survival. Healing is sometimes completion. Healing is sometimes forgiveness. Healing is sometimes release. Healing is sometimes the moment a person stops being terrified of the doorway. If you are facing death, hear this clearly. You are not a failed machine. You are not a disappearing accident. You are not meat losing electricity. You are consciousness approaching a state of change. The avatar may be tired. The player is not destroyed by the tiredness of the avatar. So receive healing if healing is yours. Receive treatment if treatment is useful. Receive love always. But do not receive terror as truth. Fear is a weather pattern, not a prophet. Say to fear, fear, you are not the final authority. Say to death, doorway, I see you. I do not worship you. I do not fear you as annihilation. Say to life, if my role continues, I continue with gratitude. Thank you, thank you. Say to the universe, select the history of wisdom. This is the tone, commanding, not frantic, loving but not weak, serene but not passive. Be the child. The master daily practice. Now I will give the whole method in a single daily sequence. This is not a prison. This is a template. So mix it up, use it lightly, use it joyfully, use it with discipline, not desperation. You orient, sit or stand, feel the room, feel the floor, name the present moment. I am here. Second, gratitude, the most obvious act of love. Name one thing that remains. Breath, sight, a hand, a friend, a memory, a lesson, a cup of water. Say these things. Gratitude is the most obvious act of love. Say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Choose one state with gratitude, but keep peace, cooling, strength, clarity, release, courage, steadiness. One state only, but with gratitude. Fourth, breathe it. Inhale as if the state is already present and blessed. Exhale if the excess effort can leave. Fifth, gather below the navel. Let the lower center become the reservoir. Circulate it. Guide the breathing current through spine, head, face, chest, organs, arms, legs, and souls. Be the cruise director. Visit all your passengers. Talk to them. Seventh, balance elements. Earth below. Water in the element. Air in the chest. Fire as clear light in the head. No strain. No heroics. Lightly. Command the lesson. Speak to the strongest disturbance. I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. And order returns now. Use a carrier, water, food, sound, written phrase, movement, room, or touch. You can choose one. Then seal. Move gently. Rub hands. Get up. Touch heart and abdomen. Go for a walk. Open your eyes. Just return. Get back to normal. Act normally. Make the appointment. Take the medicine if medicine is part of your path. Eat if eating is correct. Rest if rest is correct. Apologize if apology is correct. Leave the toxic room if leaving is correct. A dream responds not only to meditation but to behavior. A person who visualizes peace while choosing chaos is not practicing magic. They are practicing confusion. So align. Thought, breath, food, water, movement, speech, environment, and action must begin telling the same story. That is history selection. The teaching commands. I now give the central commands of this doctrine. When panic rises, say, healing is not panic. Healing is pattern correction. When worry takes over, heal with joy, not worry. Heal with joy, not worry. When you forget love, just remember and say, gratitude is the most obvious act of love. Gratitude is the most obvious act of love. When you overdo, excess is distorted expectation. Excess is distorted expectation. When you breathe, breath carries. When you wash, water receives. When you eat, food remembers. You have to program with visualization, because when you visualize, image governs. When you speak, sound directs. And you should use writing. Always write. When you move, movement seals. When you help another, the healer is a window, not a battery. When death approaches, death is a doorway, not deletion. When pain shouts, you say, I hear the lesson. You do not need to shout. When the body feels broken, say, the avatar is learning order. When the world feels hostile, the dream obeys the deepest expectation, not the loudest panic. Repetition is not lack of sophistication. Repetition is how dense registry is trained, how history is selected. Expectations across all of space-time is added to when we do repetition. So a single thought is a spark. A repeated thought is a path. A repeated thought joined to breath is a current. A repeated thought joined to gratitude is love becoming architecture. A repeated thought joined to behavior becomes history. And we integrate it. We can integrate this entire doctrine by saying reality is not dead. Reality is selected. Memory is not merely stored in the brain. Memory is selected history itself. The body is not the source of mind. The body is the avatar of mind. Death is not annihilation. Death is waking from the role. Healing is not panic. Healing is pattern correction. The first medicine is balance. The second medicine is breath. The third medicine is water. The fourth medicine is food. The fifth medicine is image. The sixth medicine is sound. The seventh medicine is movement. The eighth medicine is gratitude. The ninth medicine is non-excess. A 10th medicine is transmission without depletion. And the deepest medicine is love. But love begins somewhere practical. It begins with thanks. Thank the breath. Thank the body. Thank the lesson. Thank the food. Thank the water. Thank the pain that warned you. Thank the illness. Thank the fear that tried to protect you. Thank the fat that stored survival. Thank the illness. It forced attention. Thank the wound that revealed the need for love. Thank the avatar. Thank the dream. Thank the doorway. Gratitude is the most obvious hack to love. And love in this model is not merely an emotion. Love is coherent alignment with the best selectable history. So do not beg the universe from terror, because that selects a bad history. Stand inside the dream and speak clearly. Fear, stand down. Body, remember order. Breath, carry peace. Water, receive the burden. Food, become service. Fire, transform without burning. Water, cool without drowning. Air, mediate without scattering. Earth, hold without imprisoning. Mind, select wisely. I am always guided by universal guidance and wisdom. I'm guided by universal knowledge and wisdom. I'm guided by universal knowledge and wisdom. Mind, select wisely. History, organized toward love. And if healing comes, receive it with gratitude. If the lesson comes first, receive it with gratitude. If the role continues, continue with gratitude. And if you get bad news from a doctor still, then thank it, because it's for something. And being negative and angry isn't going to help. You have to distract from worry. So if the role completes, pass through the doorway with gratitude, because the avatar is precious, but the player is deeper. The wound is loud, but the soul is deeper. The personification is deeper. The Markov blanket is deeper. The dream is dense, but the dream is not dead, and death is not the enemy. Worry is the enemy. Distract from worry. Worry is forever our enemy. Excess is the distortion. Gratitude is the hack. Balance is the law. Breath is the carrier. Water is the receiver. Food is the passenger. Image is the pattern. Sound is the command. Movement is the seal. Love is the history worth selecting. This has been a theoretical, mathematical, spiritual healing framework for reflection and education, not a substitute for diagnosis, emergency care, or professional treatment. So mote it be. This is dedicated to the Lucky 14.